Hello, everyone. I'm Ashley, your host of Life After Ego Death, and this is our co host, Lauren.
Hello, everybody.
And today's special guest is Samuel. Welcome. Thank you for being here all the way
Thank
recording in
you.
Portugal. So that's awesome.
Yes, it's Portugal. It's almost 10 o'clock here, so
Oh my
we're
gosh.
heading into the evening.
You're working late. Thank you so much for being able to make time to talk with us because you've done so much work in your career. Could you tell us and the audience a little bit of what you've done, what you do?
Well, I'm an author and screenwriter and playwright. In the last few years, I've concentrated on biographies. My newest book is about Roddy McDowell, the actor. And last year, I had a book out about Cesar Romero, the very first Joker from Batman. The year before that, a cultural book about Joan Crawford. I'm also the co-showrunner of the third and fourth season of a television show on Amazon called After Forever. And I've been working in television and film and theater since I was a child, really. And um, I moved to Portugal 3 years ago with my husband. We've been together 32 years, and we decided that we wanted a third act in Europe. And because of COVID, so much has changed in the business that I kind of found that I was able to work from anywhere. And, I go to the United States when I need to, or sometimes, I work sometimes in London. And it's a real adventure. And I'm really excited that we have opened up kind of this door into discovering a different journey than we thought we would be having at this juncture of our lives.
Congratulations.
Congrats.
That's so amazing and also just really inspiring to hear for us because once we met like 4 months ago, we've been traveling the whole United States and we want to go international. And so maybe we're seeing a little preview of what we're going to be
You never know.
like. So, what question did I have? You mentioned something really cool that I really liked is excavating when you're doing these biographies, right, of all these actors, of the performative self and the real true self. And you wanted to talk a little bit about storytelling and then your view on it. So I don't know where you want to go with it, but we'll let you just.
You know, I think I think the question of authenticity is something that we're kind of obsessed with right now, especially because so much of the world around us seems, kind of fake and artificial and so we seek these authentic experiences. But I do think that we run the risk of imagining that authenticity is a fixed idea, like that we grow up and we reach a certain age and this is who we authentically are, the end. And that is not the case. And one of the things that is really exciting when I've been researching these actors' lives and creative people is how much they change over the course of their lives and embrace change and embrace the idea of finding new ways of being authentic and new ways of expressing themselves. So sometimes, even when they're kind of finding themselves in a situation where they feel a little bit performative, what they're actually doing is discovering a new part of themselves and a new idea of who they might be and a new thing to embrace about their own creativity. And it really, it's like it keeps it keeps them alive. You know, it keeps them growing and becoming, instead of sort of stagnating into kind of just this one image of whatever it was that, you know, made them famous in the first place. And I think in our own lives we do that a lot. You know, even when it's like with a couple, when one of them is the funny one and the other one is the serious one. Well, always, you know, do you have to like accept those roles forever? Could you role play a little bit? Maybe the funny one can be the serious one, or vice versa. You know, we just I'm really into this idea that authenticity is just it's not fixed. We have to remember
Mhm.
that.
I love that.
Yeah, you're really making me think of like the Greek word for mask, but it was like persona, or like right,
Hmm.
where the word person came from. It literally just means mask. And in all the Greek plays and like Hellenistic like culture and stuff, they always wore masks to represent like the character, right? But I think of like I wear a hat when I'm doing this, I wear a hat when I'm doing that, right? It's like throughout our lives we're constantly putting on different masks or different hats based on like whatever's required in that moment, right? So I love the point of like authenticity is very like malleable, like it flows, right? It's an expression of like the truth in a specific moment. Like sometimes I'm the husband, sometimes I'm the funny one, sometimes I'm the serious one. Like there's no fixed thing because everything is subject to change constantly. So I love that. It was like because we are culturally obsessed with authenticity. Like this is my truth, and like that's it. But it's like no, like even the truth changes, right? Like you learn something new, and then it changes your perspective. So it's like just this beautiful way of finding yourself, but I guess you could almost say yourselves, right?
Absolutely. And you know, and if I may say, we could offer each other a little bit of grace and kindness as we try on new things. And you know, when our friend, when our coworker, when our you know loved one comes out with something new they're trying, you know, I think sometimes it's our instinct to want to shoot it down, and it's so much more loving and kind. I think if we can just leave room for it and go, well, what's happening today? You know, what is this new idea? What is this new thing that we can explore today?
Mhm. It's very playful and childlike. When you were saying that we grow up, but as we're, I really think that we're fully expressing our authentic self as a child. And I always feel like the more our environment is safe and we feel open and willing to really revert back to that child self and explore deeper and express that fully out in the open without worrying about judgment. That's very liberating and very free.
Yeah, and being childlike is not the same as being childish.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with being childish or silly, but that's not really the point. The point is to embrace the spirit of play, the spirit of discovery and exploration. Well, what if I did this? What if I did that? What would it be like to do this? Um, you know, the more that we can be free with our own curiosity, I think the more alive we are. In this existence that we have. I think we're here to participate. We're not here to just distance ourselves. And I think we participate by taking part, by playing, and by taking chances.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you have to be willing to be the fool in your journey and really. take leaps of faith to allow yourself to open to more possibilities, to meeting more people. And it's really exciting.
Yeah, I can kind of speak to that one. It's like I said, I've worn a lot of hats. You know, if you just look at it from things that I have done in the past for like a temporary career, right? Like I've done behavioral therapy, I've worked in real estate, I've worked in bars, I've waited tables, I've done construction, like all these different things. But then the more and more that you go and experience, the more that you realize it's like you're actually none of those, right? Like it's whatever you choose to be, whatever you want to do. And it was through all that and all the different people that I've met, through all of this, like the real like overarching truth is like none of that actually really matters, right? Like it's like you said, it's the participation, it's the experience, it's the people that you meet, it's the love that you share along the way. And I think that that's where the big disconnect in this, and a lot of this is like you said, is like we don't have a lot of people don't have like the space or show the kindness and the grace to allow people to make mistakes, allow people to fail. It's especially when you grew up in the States, right? It's like here is if you make a mistake, it's like you're immediately punished. So we have this like inherent fear of being like children. It's like, how many times did you fall as a toddler before you actually figured out how to walk, right? A lot. You bumped your head, you cried, you probably cut yourself. Like, it was fine. It was just part of the learning experience before, and then, once you learn how to walk, then you can start to run. And it's like that with anything that you choose to do. Like I remember, I played a lot of beach volleyball when I lived in California, and I remember just learning how to play. Like I was like a child. I had no idea what I was doing. I needed someone to teach me, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's the other piece too. Is a lot of the time is we're also afraid to seek out guidance and for these new things, which is because it's embarrassing. It's like, oh, I don't know how to do this, so I'm just going to brush it off, maybe put it on the back burner for like later in life, instead of just going for it, instead of just following the heart's desire. Like, hey, I have this thing that I want to try, right? Like, who can help me? Who's willing to like give some knowledge? So just shine a light on the path for me, so I can just get started.
And when people see you like trying to do something new, you give them permission. Like you inspire them to try something new and go for it. So that's also a beautiful thing to watch from everyone else's perspective watching you.
Well, we're terrified to say, I don't know. We're terrified to say, I was wrong. I don't know why these things are so terrifying to us, but it releases so much positive energy. I think when we can just say, "Oh, I don't know how to do that. Can you teach me? I don't know how to do that. I'd like to learn." Or I got that wrong. I'm so sorry. I misunderstood when I took offense at something. I misunderstood. I'm sorry. Not without any caveats, without any, oh, I'm sorry if you felt, like that. No, just be sorry. It's okay. You can be sorry. Um, it 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 opens up the energy between people to have a real sort of interaction instead of this constant I have to pretend that I know everything. I have to pretend that I'm right, even if I know I'm not right. Or what? Is someone going to kill me? I don't know what the consequences are. Why it's so terrifying to be wrong, but I guess it goes back to childhood ideas about being wrong and being punished or something. Um, but it's okay to be
It's
wrong.
Yeah, maybe people put a protective shield and barrier around them so they don't get hurt and don't get betrayed and don't get judged as harshly. Maybe that's a way of preserving the self because they don't feel like they can soften. They don't feel that they could open this barrier to let people in, to let more love in, no matter what is going to happen. When you have interactions with people, you don't you don't know. You trust that they're not going to hurt you, but they might, right? And that's okay. But I think it's navigating that, and I see so many people that are just really hardened around the shell. They have this protectiveness around their heart, and it blocks them off from receiving more.
Yeah, and we don't have to understand or agree with everything that everyone else does. Um, but we also don't have to condemn it just because we don't understand it. And I think I worked with I did a lot of work as a court-appointed special advocate with trans foster youth when I lived in Los Angeles. And one of the things that I always came up with when dealing with social workers and teachers and people who were giving the kids difficulty is two things. One, they would go, well, what if it's a phase? And two, they would come up with these ideas about like, but I don't understand why they have to have this or why they have to be called by this pronoun. I don't understand. And my point was always, well, number one, phases are real too. You could have a phase that's very real. Being a realtor is a phase if that's not, what you're going to be doing for your whole life. That it wasn't not real just because it was a phase. And you don't have to know what it's like to want to use a different pronoun or to not feel at home in your own body. You just have to respect that this person feels this way and that you can respect that they know what they feel like. You don't have to know what they feel like because they already know what they feel like, and just respect that and let it alone.
You're right. It's their truth, and everyone is living their truth, and there is no right or wrong. Like everyone is right in their own story, in their own journey in life, wherever we meet them at.
Yeah, there's no script for life.
Yeah.
Like there's no exit stage right now. Like you need to say this at this moment. Like you make it up as you go. And
You kind of have to because it's
yeah,
not going to follow any set pattern. Whatever you think is going to happen, and we all do that with like if we have a partner or whatever, we have these conversations with our partner that are just in our own head, and it's kind of like, well, you're not actually speaking to them. You have to actually speak to them if you're going to have a conversation.
Yeah, you do go through these like scenarios, the hypotheticals, just based on past assumptions and based
Hmm.
on whatever you were raised in learning and programming, when that might not even be how that other person feels. So a lot of people get caught up in that, especially like in the dating world. So
in everything, honestly.
yeah,
It's like we were kind of talking on texting this yesterday. And we're talking about we're all just big kids, right? Like just playing in the sandbox together. But what happens when somebody gets frustrated with you is it's really just they're mad that you don't want to play the game their way, right?
Yeah.
It's like you're allowed to say no to their game, but then they get frustrated and throw a tantrum sometimes because you said no, like I don't agree with how you play the game. I want to play it my way. And it's like you said, that respect of just being like, hey, okay, like I'm gonna go over here. Like I prefer to play foursquare on the playground, and I like tetherball. Like one is not better than the other. Neither is right nor wrong. It's just your own preference. It's like you can call me whatever for playing tetherball. I can be mean and call you whatever for playing foursquare. Like we'll just get stuck in this endless cycle and back and forth of just nonsense, honestly. When it's just like, go have your experience,
Well,
and then
it's
maybe let's
never
reconvene and see what we
going
like
to
about one
work
another. Maybe it goes
if
bad yet. You
your
don't know, right? Like,
idea
you just have to
is
keep
I'm going to
bringing
make
going, try
everybody else
something.
do what
yeah.
I want them
What I
to
think
do.
is so hard is that
It
and a lot of
really, this is
even me
not, a
before
formula for success.
Yeah, I don't know. Sorry, our connection cut out for a hot sec.
Oh, I thought something looked weird. But yeah, no, you can't go around expecting everyone to do what you want all the time, thinking that that's some way of living successfully. Even if you can manage to make everybody do what you want, I don't think anyone comes out of that feeling satisfied.
Definitely not. Especially when you're raised under conservative traditional beliefs and you don't adhere to those standards. A lot of the family will be really upset that you're not playing the same game that they play, right? And but you're living a lie if you continue to conform and try to
Yeah.
fit in with whatever society's beliefs are and whatever that even means. Um, and just with even in friends and social circles too, and that just damages the self so much to not fully be able to be who you are meant to be or who you really are. And so I think that's something that we're always pushing to do with when we talk to people and when we're on our videos and everything. It's just like us expressing who we authentically are to let the other person do the same. Like it's okay. You can be
Mhm.
weird and funky and whatever it is. But there's so much joy in that, like watching someone else's joy when they're talking about their passions or when they're creating or when they're just cooking. It could be anything. But when you get to watch that happen, that like opens up something inside someone, all the aspects of them that you were talking about, and it shines light on what they're hiding, what they should really bring out.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, and even when it comes to people's enthusiasms, my husband loves going to a car show. I do not, but going with him to a car show is really fun because he is so excited, like a little kid running around looking at everything that, I can't help but be, touched and charmed and have a good time myself, even if the initial, event itself is not something that I'm particularly interested in. But, joy is really contagious.
And it was like I turned her on to anime.
Oh yeah, now we're watching tons of anime. The character development is just so good, and also the whole community itself too. Like since I'm new to the community, I reached out. I was like, hey, does anyone have any favorite show recommendations? And oh my gosh, I got 2,000 people, and so many people were sharing their love for something, and they're just so kind and so loving towards me. Of like, oh hey, welcome to the club. Like here's everything that you need. Now I have probably about like 80 shows that I have a list for. I'm gonna be set for life. I don't even know how I'm gonna get through all of them. But that's that's something so fun. I'm like, okay, and everyone is passionate about something. If there's a niche for everything, there's a community for everything. And I really love like hopping in to all of these things and building and meeting new people. And we have one thing in common, but I realized with this podcast that I've been doing, all the people all around the world, we all are connected. All of us are. So all of us have something in common. We always end up having very similar stories. That's why I just hit record and start and I'm doing the research because we always end up meeting in the same place where the heart is.
And it's something that I kind of noticed too, like, the fruits of your work, the fruits of your passion, the fruits of your joy, like, they're not necessarily meant for you to eat, like you just told about your husband in the car show, right? It's like, if you had never tried that fruit with your husband, you would never know, like, that you could enjoy something like that, right? Like, you'll never know if you don't like something until you take that first bite, right? And that's what I've learned through jumping, on as a co-host with this after we met is, Like, there's so many people and things that I would have never even thought to go and experience, or that were just kind of outside of my like scope of interest. But then you take the bite of that fruit, you're like, wow, this is actually really good. Like but it's in its own way. Like we all like something different. Sometimes like somebody likes the sweet texture of it. Somebody likes you know the tanginess. Like depending on what you find interesting about that fruit, it's different for everybody.
Absolutely. You know, the ability to say yes, to look at something that's different, or that you've never encountered before, and lean in instead of go, like, I've never seen this before, what is this? I think is the difference between a life well lived and a life where you're letting it all pass you by. Look, not everything is for everyone. You're still not going to, get me to go zip lining or something. But I'll watch. Like, I'm not going to do it, but I'll watch. It's not that we have to say yes to everything, but I think, you know, tribalism is kind of the curse of our moment, in our cultural moment right now. This tribalism of whether it's conservative and progressive, or whether it's the MAGA population or whatever, you know we we're separating ourselves into tribes and then identifying so strongly as, this is who I am, this is what I do, or this is what I think. And conversations like we're having today are the antidote to that tribalism. They are the way forward, so that we can find connection, rather than pulling apart and looking at everything that's different from whatever our own experience is as somehow hostile or threatening, or something to fight against. We really, we have to change this paradigm. We have to.
And the crazy thing is it's like not a super complicated thing. It's just like, just be open to everything, and you'll develop discernment for your own preferences along the way. But you have to be willing to say yes to new stuff.
Yeah, I think it's just choosing fear or choosing love, right? And so these people that choose to identify with all the things that make them them, right? And attacking other people that act like them is just fear based.
Yeah.
So but you're right. That is true. And like you said in the beginning, people are really searching for genuine connection also. That's why I started this podcast in the first place. Because I'm like, well, I'm going through so much in my spiritual journey. I'm sure there's someone else out there that is going through it too. I would love to meet them and have like a really great friend, and all these people I ended up talking to, we met each other with love and openness, and we shared both of our stories, and we felt so good. We're like, all right, now we're friends forever, and it's just pure goodness, and you're not alone.
Yeah.
I guess that's it.
Yeah, I mean, we flew through a half hour.
I know, it went by super fast. I don't know if you have any last thing to leave with us.
One tidbit of knowledge that we may not have touched upon, any life philosophy that you found super useful in your own journey.
It's a good
Well, I think it's a wonderful thing that you're doing here, that you're hosting these conversations, for us all to kind of take a minute, think about how it is that we're telling stories to ourselves, about other people in our lives, and you know, that we can be present, that we can find joy, and that we can make a difference.
Yeah.
Well said. Very well said.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.